Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where stories and other random things is center stage and imagination is prized above all. So, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to today's video where I am going to be reviewing Overlord Volume 1, The Undead King. Couple of things to mention before we start, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you're interested in my content. I try to post frequently, so if you're interested in more content, consider subscribing. If you're in liking the video, also consider subscribing to my blog. I am currently exploring written content, and I'm having a lot of fun. So yeah. Before we start, a couple of things though. I am aware that I picked up this book being aware that Overlord is an anime. Now, I've never watched the anime, so this volume is actually my first experience with the story. So I will be reading the synopsis. I am very sorry if I make pronunciation mistakes. Yeah, so this is it. Anyway, the once popular game Yggdrasil, I don't know, was supposed to shut down that day. Everyone was supposed to be logged out automatically, but the players who stayed online past the moment the servers went quiet found themselves transported to a game world made real. Leading them is Mamunga, a man whose love of games in the real world brought him only loneliness. Now a skeletal sorcerer. The legends of Mamunga and his guild begin here. So, I should start by saying that it took me 2 months to read this book, and it is only 246 pages. And that's because I didn't read constantly every day. I think the story is really good, and I got a really good handle on the characters and everything. The writing, I kind of have mixed feelings about. Mainly, I think it's mainly okay, but there is a lot of expository writing, at least in the version I read. I do want to say I did read the English translation, so just be aware. I don't know if there's like I don't know if the translations are always accurate. So anything I read from another country is going to be in English. I just thought I should mention that. But I now mention otherwise if it's in Spanish, for example, if I read something in Spanish. Anyway, basically, yeah. So there's a lot of expository writing. The exposition is good, but when you, at least for me, when it's exposition dumping, it is a lot, so it makes the process harder to read because you get a lot of exposition writing. However, on the other side of that, you have expository writing that is specifically inner thoughts when it comes to Mamunga. And basically, it kind of details his thoughts. And I don't consider it too much exposition, even though it feels like exposition writing because it follows the same kind of style of writing, but I don't think it's too bad. The characters didn't really get that much development in this book. They really didn't get developed. However, I'll give this a pass because this is volume 1 of, I think, 16, and since it's because it's still because it's kind of like these light novels, I do think they'll develop the characters later throughout the novels, and they'll and stuff like that. I will say, okay, before I say this, I want to read a line out of context in a minute. I'm gonna read a line out of context. The writing was also very descriptive. It kind of felt like George R.R. Martin style, but a little bit lighter in a weird way. So the writing was very descriptive. Now I'm gonna read a line here out of context right now. Here we go. Hold on, I have this up. So, okay. Ample twin swells asserted themselves by straining against the chest of her outfit, but the overall impression she made was one of modesty. 3. Okay, can you guess what exactly was being described there? No? Yes? Great. You got it right. It was the breasts. This girl's breasts were described as ample twin swells. Out of all the descriptions I read in this book, that has to be the strangest. That is definitely the strangest description I have ever read. And I'm pretty sure it will not fully leave my mind. I have read a lot of things in before. This is definitely the strangest. So, I think for a first experience, it was really good. I liked the I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the story. One of my favorite parts of the story, genuinely my favorite part, is the psychological exploration of Momonga, basically who he was over who he is now, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed that, and I expect to see more of that. I have definitely high expectations for the next few volumes because this one absolutely impressed me. I love it. Other things. Oh, here's a strange thing about the story itself in the way it was told, specifically the way it was written. So this book is 246 pages, like I mentioned, but it is written in the story itself is divided in 6 chapters, plus an epilogue, plus there's one part just called an intermission. I think these chapters were a little too long, but if you look at I've looked at episode recaps of this, and it seems like each chapter might match an episode or 2 episodes. I don't know how that works, but it is, to me, I think the chapter writing for me specifically was too long. But I also didn't mind because the story still continued, so I don't care. But I do think that when it was written, it may have been too much for me in the beginning or to get used to. But I also didn't really care as much, but I just thought I would mention it just because it was odd to see in the very beginning. But I actually kind of like that in a way. I feel like it was really interesting to see that writing style. The story itself was very character focused, even though the characters didn't get as much development. It was very character focused, and there was a lot. The plot kind of happened at the end, and there was but it was like the plot felt kind of like it was in the background. That might be a drawback for people, but not for me. I actually didn't mind. I was perfectly okay with the plot being kind of in the background. I prefer more character-driven stories. This one felt very character-driven, so I liked it. Another thing that I also want to mention is that there is a lot of telling, a lot of it. I didn't mind this. I don't mind this. There is also a lot showing as well, but when it comes to the past, all right, thanks, Aylin. Anyway, I didn't mind the telling. I actually do a lot of telling in my own writing, so I didn't care. But I do want to mention that when it comes to the past, there is a lot of exposition when it comes to the past. When it comes to the past events, there's usually a lot of telling. Also, can I just say that the names in this story are hilarious, specifically when it comes to the guild. Like, there's someone named that names himself, I guess, Touch Me, and the other one, my favorite other, Bubbling Teapot. So, there were some hilarious names in there. I kind of found it interesting. I found a lot of this interesting. I will definitely look for the anime, because I do want to watch it. And by the way, if you are looking for this book and you're interested in reading it, you can find it You can find the first volume on Bookshare if you have access to it, and you can also find the first 3 volumes on Audible. So definitely there. I do think that this book would have probably gone much faster in audio because the exposition wouldn't have dragged me down a bit when it comes to the reading. So those are my thoughts. A little bit conflicting, but honestly nothing bad. I gave this book 4 stars mainly because of the writing, and I loved it. Read Overlord. I love the title, by the way, The Undead King. It's super interesting. It was really cool just to learn stuff along the way Mamunga did. It was really fun. So it was a great experience. And that was like the only Braille book I was reading in like 2 months. Now the book I'm reading in physically is Kushiel's Dart. So I will have a review of that in a couple of months, probably a couple of weeks. So let me know what you think about Overlord Volume 1. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe and like the video. Also consider subscribing to my blog. And I will see you soon with another video. Until then, consume stories. Bye.
Silver unmuted.
Ugh. What is it?
QuickTime Player. Movie recording. Window. Stop recording. Button.